Okay, welcome back, guys. This is going to be part 3 of the Popeye restore. I went around this morning and fixed any nicks that I saw in the sides and in the front, and one in here. Now, before I paint this cabinet, I'm going to make sure I put this bar back in here that holds the screen and the control panel. Because if I scratch anything, I want to scratch it obviously before I paint it than afterwards. So now what I'm going to do while these areas are drying, I'm going to sand the top here and the back panels. I'll just do that off camera, but I'm just going to sand this down up here and the two back parts with 180 grit. And then here in a little bit we need to make another one of these cleats for this side so that we can staple that on before I spray primer on the cabinet. So I'm going to go ahead and do some sanding on the top and back, and I'll come back. Okay, I sanded the top down and the back up here, and I sanded inside the cabinet. I got to vacuum it still to get the rest of the debris out of there. When I was sanding over here, I noticed that this was loose. Look at that, how much of this peeled off. It was delaminated. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more filler and fill this in. So I'm going to get the filler mixed up now and do that. Okay, I'm going to vacuum out the inside of the cabinet. I sanded the coin door down real quick because when I mix up a second coat for over here, I'll get those couple little dents in the bottom. I was able to hammer out some of them, so there's a little bit left. So let's vacuum out the bottom of this cabinet. I also sanded this down real quick too, so I just got a little bit of dirt in the corners I got to try to get out. So let's use this attachment first. Try to get in all 8 corners. Get some sandpaper, because where I couldn't get it with the sander, you could see how that's still got some dirt and stuff in it. Just kind of got to go around the edges and everything and sand off this dirt. At least there's no mold or anything in here. We'll just tape it off real good so we don't get a bunch of paint inside the cabinet. Now when I go to primer this cabinet, I'm going to primer the sides and the front black areas only. I'm not going to primer the top or the back, maybe just a little bit where I put some Bondo, because I want the wood grain to show through the black paint like it originally did. For some reason this wheel's loose. Don't know why. We'll just hand tighten it for now. Okay. for now. Later on, when I get it in the basement, I'll wipe it out with some simple green. But at least we got the heavy dirt out of there. So now hopefully this side is dry so I can sand it and put the last coat on. And then I'll get a little bit on that coin door, and then we will be ready to get this into primer. Oh, I gotta make that cleat still for the front. So let me clean up this vacuum, and then, oh, I forgot to vacuum that other piece. So yeah, let me clean up this vacuum real quick, and then we'll come and sand that side spot. Okay, let's sand this down so we can get another coat on it. And then we'll put some on the coin door. Okay, let me go mix some up and we'll come back and apply it to that and the coin door. Okay, I'm mixing some up here. Hopefully this coat will be all I need to finish this. If I have to put a third one on, I will. This stuff dries in like 10 minutes, so it's not a big deal. But we should be primering this thing in a little bit here. And I'll put a little bit of primer on the coin door where I put the Bondo at. You can see how nice and smooth this stuff spreads. Makes it really nice to work with. Sand. As you can see, it sands really quickly. Piece of wood stuck in it. Just a nice light coat. Oop, piece of dirt in it. There we go. I have a little tiny nick left up here to get. I'm probably just going to be making a back door because the people never got back to me. So it is what it is. I might have a piece of 1/2-inch plywood back there, but I'll probably end up going to Home Depot because I want to get a better grade plywood than regular plywood, because regular plywood is going to look like crap. There's going to be knots in it, voids in it, which I could probably make it look good by doing a bunch of body work to it, but I don't really want to do that because I want it to kind of look like original and see the wood grain through it. And if I go do a bunch of body work and primer, and you're not gonna see the wood grain. So, probably gonna have to go buy a $50, $60 sheet of plywood to make a back door. Which sucks, but what are you gonna do? I mean, I got a really good deal on the cabinet, so I can't really complain. Okay, we'll let that dry. I'm gonna go clean off this real quick, and then we're gonna come back and sand down these couple other black brackets and the grill for the speaker. Because later on today, I want to paint the coin door and those other black parts with, I'm just gonna spray paint all those, and I'm gonna do a light texture on that coin door, because there was a really light texture on it from the beginning. So I'll probably just use that chip guard, stay real far back, and just maybe mist across it once or twice just to get some speckles in it, and then we'll paint over it. All right, let's get these done. Should be pretty quick and easy. This is in really good shape. A little bit filthy and stuff on the end here. I'm just sanding off all the rust that's on here. That's why I had to strip this down to bare metal, because this was all rusty up here. This, for instance, I just went over it quickly just to scuff it up so that the paint will stick to it. I am going to take this screw out of there because I don't want to paint that gold screw black. So these parts are pretty much ready for paint. They just need cleaned off. Just scuffing them up. Just make sure they're sanded so that some paint will stick to it. I don't want the paint to peel off. Okay, so now we're just going to wait a couple more minutes for that filler to dry, and then we can get those sanded down, and I think at that point we will be ready to make the cleat for the cabinet, and then get this primer. And then later on today I want to paint these parts black so that those can cure, and then tomorrow we will paint the cabinet blue. I think what I'm going to do, yes, we're going to get the whole cabinet painted tomorrow, the black and the blue. We're going to paint the blue first, the base coat, and then we are going to, so after we spray the blue base coat on the cabinet, we will let it dry for an hour or so. Then we'll tape off the sides and the front, and then we'll come in with the black, and we'll paint the black areas, and then we will untape the blue, and then we'll use a satin clear over top of the blue and the black, just to kind of seal everything in nicely. So by tomorrow evening, this cabinet will be all painted, and Saturday when I get home from work, I will get it down into the basement, and this will be next on the list to get put together. Later on today, I'm going to work on Dig Dug. I'm going to see if I just can't get that thing up and running today. I don't know the monitor situation. I'm not even sure if I want to use that monitor. I might just go up top here, up here. I don't know if you guys can see or not. Let me try to get you up there by the ceiling. If you look up there, there's a bunch of bags, black garbage bags. Those are all 19-inch monitors in there. And I think all but one or two of those work. So if that monitor I do have a rebuild kit for it, but it's I forget what brand the monitor is. It's maybe I don't know. I'd have to look at it again, but people say it's a crappy monitor and it just doesn't look good. So we'll try it. If it doesn't look good, I don't know if I'm gonna waste a bunch of time trying to make it look good. I might just go up on top of the spray booth up here and grab one of those other monitors that I know work, and just put it in the game and be done with it. Oh wait, no, not on this game. I'm sorry. On Dig Dug, not on Popeye. Obviously, Popeye has to use the correct Nintendo monitor, but for the Dig Dug later on this evening. So, all right, let me let this filler dry for a couple more minutes. We'll get those couple areas sanded down, and then we will get this thing, the cleat made, and get it blown off, and we'll get the primer on. Okay, let me get this sanded down. Beautiful. We got it straightened out. Okay, we are good there now. Don't feel anything too bad. Nothing that some filler primer won't fill in. So now let's sand this coin door down. And then I guess we get to go outside in the cold and cut a piece of plywood for the little strip for the monitor surround. I might just do a light coat on the whole door of primer. So now, let's see this wooden strip here. It sucks I don't have the other one, but it is what it is. This one goes on this side, I believe. Yes, because you can see the way that the staples go into the wood. Sorry about that. Thought I heard somebody here. Let me go grab a hammer and see if we can't tap this on. Okay, let's see if we can tap this one back into the holes, and then we can just add a couple more staples. I don't know why these are ripped off. I don't know what somebody was doing with it. And I gotta go in my van and see if I have some short staples, which I think I do. We definitely don't want to blow a staple through the other side of the cabinet, not after we did all the body work. Okay, so now we have staple holes over here, but there's no like real designated line saying where this needs to be. So what we're going to have to do is kind of take a measurement from this corner to the edge of the cabinet and then kind of try to space it the same, because I want that plexi to lay against the cabinet nice and straight. If I put this side crooked from this side, you know, there's a likelihood of it, you know, bouncing around because it's not sitting flat against there. I am kind of wondering though why these blocks are so far forward, because it seems like they're more forward than this. But let me see this bar here. Maybe this will kind of determine what's going on with that. So this mounts underneath here. Well, I guess it doesn't look right. It looks right. Okay. It just looked a little strange to me, like it wasn't really lining up. But all right, let me go dig around, see if we have a piece of plywood. That's like 1/4 inch maybe 3/8. I think what I have might be a hair thicker, but you're never going to see it because it's going to be behind the plexiglass. So let me go out in the back shop there and see what I can find. I might just bring a saw, circular saw or something, and just cut it off a sheet out there. Okay, I got a sheet of 3/8 plywood right here, and it's 3/4 wide by 19 5/8 long. So we're just going to cut it out here. And it's 3/4 this way. Run my finger down the wood. That should work. I'm gonna grab my saw. I'm gonna take these sawhorses that are leaning against this and throw it behind it so I don't cut the door. Just like that. We're just gonna cut this up in the air like this. course, it fell behind it. Find that. There it is. All right. Here's our cleat. So now I got to go find some staples that are shorter. Okay, I have some 5/8 staples here, so this will work perfectly. After I staple this on, I'm ready to blow this off and get it in the spray booth. So I probably won't video that part. I'll just get it all. I got to move a few things around. We'll get it in there. I'm probably only going to put like 2 coats of primer on the cabinet because I really don't think it needs much more than that. But we'll see what it looks like after 2 coats. Okay, so basically we're 3/4 of an inch down, 1 3/8 inches back. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky, but we'll get it. 1 3/8 inches, 3/4 down, which actually, that's pretty damn close right there. Let's just put 1 staple in it. And we didn't go through, so we are good. Now down here is going to be a lot trickier to measure. I'm thinking about I think I'm gonna have to measure on an angle from the point out to the edge of the control panel, which is just shy of 9 3/4. So just shy of 9 3/4 to the edge of the control panel, which would be right there. Now let's do a measurement. Let's go down from the top. We'll make it an even number. Let's go down 12 inches, which is right here. Let's measure this. 2 3/4. 12 inches down equals 2 3/4. So let's go down 12 inches over here. Put my finger there. Two and 7/8. Okay. We're within 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is this could be bowed a little bit. So I'm just going to carefully just bend it back just a tiny bit, just like that. And we'll put a couple staples on this side. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm going to remeasure down just out of curiosity. 12 inches. This should be 2 7/8. Just over 2 3/4. Let's double check this one. We're a 1/16 over 2 3/4. 16. We're within a 1/16 of an inch. I'm totally fine with that. So now our cleat is installed. So now I'm gonna get this blown off. I'm gonna move some stuff around. I'll get it in there, and next we will get a couple coats of primer on. I'm gonna put a piece of paper over this and over this right here. Maybe I'll just drape it right around so that we don't get primer on the wood inside. I can sand it off if we get it on there, but I'm hoping not to get a bunch on there. Up here is already black, so we'll respray that black. We'll tape that line off right there when we go to paint black, and we will just repaint this top part black just to blacken it up, because I did sand it just to clean it up and stuff. So, all right, let me get this all blown off, cleaned up out here, and get it in there, and we'll come back and put a couple coats of primer on. Okay, I'm going to use some plastic to cover the inside of this up for now for the primer. Primer on the back here, and this little bit I put right here, I'm not going to primer that either. I'll put black paint over it, it'll be just fine. And this plastic should work for now too. So let me go get some wax and grease remover, and wipe the cabinet down. I'm also going to show you a different product that you can use rather than wax and grease remover, so you don't have to go out and buy more stuff that you don't need to waste your money on. So let me go grab a couple things. Okay, this is wax and grease remover. This is for automotive use. You can use it on this as well. I use this because I just have a bunch of it to use. You can go to Home Depot and get spray away glass cleaner, ammonia free, streak free. This stuff doesn't have anything in it that's going to contaminate your surface and cause you to have a problem with your paint. You can use this for automotive paint as well. You can get 4 cans of this stuff at Home Depot for 10 bucks. And you can use it in your arcade to clean your monitors, your bezels, all that stuff. So save yourself money. Don't get wax and grease remover. This stuff will work just as good. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wipe this down with some wax and grease remover, and we will put a couple coats of primer on. I'm going to go put the primer on the mixer real quick just so I can get it mixed up. Okay, let's get this. The reason why I like to wipe this down is to get any grease contaminants off. I mean, this cabinet is 40 plus years old. Handprints, you know, you name it, it's on this cabinet. So we want to wipe it down and get all that contaminants off of there. You want to give your paint the best surface it can have to stick to. So we're just going to go and wipe this down real quick. And you're going to see on this rag, even though this, well, you might not be able to see it too good because it's the blue rag, but you should be able to see it. See it on the rag, but you can see all that blue and stuff that came off the cabinet, along with grease and everything else that was on there, I'm sure. But make sure you saturate it really good, get it nice and wet. I think 2 coats of primer is going to be all I need on here. It actually turned out pretty smooth. This, I'm not going to use wax and grease remover on. I'll get the door because I don't want to get it saturated into that wood since it's bare wood. And we did sand it down after we pulled the laminate off of it, so it should be fine. But I blew all these parts off with my blowgun outside, and then I brought them in here, and look at all that takes off. So clearly wiping your parts down makes a huge difference. Because if you didn't, you would be literally putting primer over all of that loose stuff on your cabinet. I'm not going to worry about the top. I can wipe it down, so let it go for now. And then when we get ready to paint, we will wipe it down again before we paint. And maybe I'll use the glass cleaner before we paint just to show you that you can, in fact, use it. Alright, I'm going to turn the fan on because it's getting hot in here. Turn the fans on real quick. My filter is dirty, but I'll clean it before I paint. So it's a little clogged up. It should be alright though for what I'm doing today. Alright, we're going to go mix up some primer here in a minute. I got it on the mixer right here. I use all automotive products. I don't use any latex or acrylic enamel or anything like that. I use all this because I already have it all. So that's the reason why I use this. Do I recommend it? Definitely. I think it works way better than anything else. But affordability, not very affordable if you're on a budget trying to do these cabinets on the cheaper side. But once again, I'm also painting car parts, so I have extra primer, extra reducers, extra clear coat, so it's really not costing me the money that it would cost for you guys to go out there and buy the whole system. But if you do decide to do it, and let's say you buy a gallon of this 2K filler primer from Summit, this with hardener is about $100. And you'll probably get 4 to 5 cabinets out of it. So if you were to get, let's say you got 5 cabinets out of this can, that's $20 a cabinet. So in the end, it doesn't seem, it's not a lot of money. So if you have a bunch of projects and a bunch of cabinets you're doing, this would be the better route for you, because in the end, it's going to be cheaper. You're not buying rollers, you're not buying paint brushes, you're not buying roller pans or the sleeves that go in the pans. So all that accounts for everything. You know, you got to add all that up. Same thing with the clear coat. The satin clear coat I use is from Summit Racing. That once again it's about $100 with the hardener, and you get about 5 cabinets out of it, so it's $20. So now we're $20 into primer, $20 into clear coat, and then the color. The color is kind of expensive, I will give you that. I think I only got a pint of this color, this blue for this cabinet, rather than a quart. I got a quart of the orange for the Burger Time cabinet. I only got a pint of this because I have some blue leftover paint from a different project, and I was going to put that on first and then top it off with the right color over top. So I only bought a pint. But this pint of paint was, I think, $90. So you're $40 plus $90. So now you're, what are we at? $130 to paint your cabinet, plus a little bit of miscellaneous supplies here and there. You're probably $150 to paint your cabinet, but you're going to get a much better result, you know. But, you know, then again, you can go and get an acrylic enamel or acrylic, yeah, I think it's enamel that Home Depot and Lowe's sells. And you can use a foam brush if you want. You can spray that stuff too. It does work. Charlie from Overtime Arcade is working on a joust right now, and he's actually spraying it, and it's looking really good. He's using a cabinet paint, and I think he said it only cost him like 30 or 40 bucks. So, you know, you got that option too. I personally just never really shot that type of material, so I can't really recommend if it's awesome or not, because I just don't know. So I don't want to tell you guys something that I can't verify. But, I mean, looks like he's having really good luck with it. He's sent me some pictures here and there of it, so we'll see, you know, but I think he's going to be just fine with what he's doing. So, all right, let's get some primer mixed up here. This is a 4-to-1 mix, so we need some hardener. And we're going to throw a little bit of reducer into it just to thin it out a little bit so that it lays down a little bit flatter when I spray it. And we're just going to try to hit it with 2 coats and see if that's enough. So I'm going to take this all the way up to the number 4, which is the highest line on here. We're going to put 10% reducer in it, just to thin it out a little bit, because this stuff is pretty thick. But you always want to put your hardener second with this brand. There's other brands that you'll put your primer, your reducer, and then your hardener. And if you don't put it in that order, you're going to put the wrong amount of hardener in your primer. So we're at the number 4 right here on our cup. So now we're going to go to this next number 4. They make this stuff real easy. It looks like I poured over the line, but I didn't. What it is there's a sleeve inside of this cup, and it casts a shadow. The darker line is actually right at 4. And then if you go over to the 3rd line, you can go up to the 4 if you wanted with reducer, but that's going to start getting it pretty thin. But if you look above this 4, it says 10%, 20%. 20% is equivalent to the other number 4. So we're going to split it in the middle. We're going to go to 10%. 10% reducer. It's going to thin it a little bit, make it flow a little bit nicer. Less orange peel, less to sand when we have to sand the cabinet down. Now I know I'm rambling on about this stuff, and this is more automotive related than arcade cabinets, but figured I'd give you a quick lesson on it if somebody needs to know or would like to know. So we're going to go ahead and mix this up. I'm not going to use a tack cloth on the cabinet. The reason why I'm not using a tack cloth is because I'm putting filler primer on. We already wiped off all the debris off the cabinet with the wax and grease remover. There's no point wasting a tack cloth right now because we're just spraying primer, which has to be sanded anyway. So if there's any specks of dirt on the cabinet, it doesn't matter because we're going to be sanding it down. But after we're done sanding the filler primer and we're getting ready to paint, after we wax and grease remove it,
we will definitely use a tack cloth on it. And the other benefit of having an automotive paint is you don't have to have a spray booth or anything like that. You can do it on a nice day outside even, you know, and you can do it all in one day. By the next day, you're dry. The cabinet paint, stuff like that, unfortunately, you have to wait a couple days. I think it's up to 7 days, Charlie was saying, for full cure on the paint that he's using. I think he said he got it at Sherwin-Williams. But like I said, it looks good. I think he's doing a really good job on it. I think it's going to turn out well. And I'm happy that he's giving the spray gun a try. I know he was kind of complaining that it was taking a little bit longer to clean the gun out. But, you know, that's just, once again, that's just something you got to get used to, and you will get quicker at cleaning the gun out and stuff like that. You'll find little tricks and ways to rinse it out quicker. Automotive paint rinses out of the gun a lot easier than regular cabinet paint does. So, all right, I'm going to finish stirring this up, and let's go get some primer on this cabinet. One more thing, these cups that I use, these have a built-in strainer. So that's why you don't see me straining paint. But on filler primer, you have to take this strainer out. Because, and I don't care if there's some dirt and specks in the primer, once again, we're sanding it off. If I don't take that screen out of here, after about 30 seconds of painting, that stuff is so thick, it clogs all the holes in the screen, and then you can't spray out of it. So, all right, let me go get set up. One more thing, we're using a cheap $80 spray gun from Harbor Freight to spray my primers. I don't buy expensive spray guns for primer anymore because they all get corroded and they look like, you know, they work like crap. I bought a 2 or 3 gun kit. It was like $89, and I just use this for my primers. It works great, and I don't really care if it's not perfectly spotless clean after I use it every time. I mean, if I get a year or 2 years out of this gun for $89, I think it's well worth it. So, all right. mix up some more primer. I'm going to mix up enough, and I'm just going to do a third coat. Since I'm mixing up some more, I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe and put one more coat on everything. Okay, we got all the primer on. Once again, you guys don't need to have a spray booth. You don't need to have heat. The reason why I'm using heat is I don't have a choice because it's 45 degrees outside. And because it's 45 degrees outside, when I use the spray booth, it is moving 9,000 CFMs of air directly from outside through the spray booth. So basically, I am sucking 45 degree air through the spray booth. So if I don't heat the air as it's coming in, I would never be able to paint for primer when it's cold outside. If you just have a normal garage with a heater going and it's 60, 70 degrees in there, you just have a little box fan or something going, you should be just fine. I'm moving way too much air to be able to paint because it literally would be 45 degrees in there and it would take forever to dry. I wouldn't be able to paint that tomorrow. You know, you could do it outside on a nice sunny day. You get a nice sunny day and you primer that early in the morning, you'll be able to paint it by the evening. I could paint this later on today too if I wanted to, but I'm just going to let it sit until tomorrow. There's no point in rushing that. Let it just dry for a full 24 hours. It's only like 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that now, so it's not real late. So don't think that you need to have all the fancy stuff or anything like that. You can do just as good of a job out in the driveway or in your garage as I'm doing here. So pretty much going to end this video now. Just going to let this dry overnight. And later on today I'll probably do the satin black parts. Because if you look, this primer is already pretty much set up. So we'll let that dry. It needs about 4 hours or so to cure. So this is going to end part 3 of the Popeye restore. Later on I might do a quick video of the black parts, which would be part 4. And then I'm going to work on a dig dug today as well. See if we can't maybe get that up and subscribe. Have any questions, comments, or anything, feel free to send them. I always answer everyone I can. Other than that, I will see you guys later.